Hello everyone, warm welcome to Super Coaching Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav Sir. I welcome you all in the next session for your finance current affairs. You know this very well that this session is going to help you a lot, not only in your phase 1 examination but also for the phase 2 examination of RBI Grade B exam. Along with that, this session is a must watch session for all those candidates who are preparing for SEBI, SEBI, IFSCA, PFRDA, and for that matter, bank exams as well. So before we start the discussion, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Just let me know in the comment section that everything is good, we are good to go. Just give me yes sir in the comment section so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Today, we are going to discuss many important concepts related to the RBI current affairs. You must be wondering, so why I'm using this word concepts? Because it has been witnessed in the past that whatever questions which are generally asked from the RBI scenario in terms of conceptual knowledge, especially in your phase 2 examination, especially in the descriptive format, they are derived from the current affairs itself. So keeping that in mind, I will be focusing on all the topics in such a manner that you can answer the questions from the same topic, not only in phase 1 but in phase 2 as well. So if you are good to go, just give me yes sir so that we can begin the discussion. I think we are live. So we have Rudransh, DCW, Anshika, Pratima. Very good, very good. So I guess we are good to go. Guys, I will be taking your doubts. I have seen some of your doubts in the comment section, but don't worry. Give me some time. I'll be taking your doubts by the end of this session and I'll try my level best to answer each and every doubt of yours. So let's get started with the first news of the day. But before that, if you want to download the PDF of this session, that is available on my Telegram channel and the link is available on the screen itself. Just scan the code, join the channel and you can download the PDF. The first news which I have for you all is, this is the screenshot which I have taken from the RBI notification, and the screenshot says RBI has come up with a new update and the update is related to WMA. WMA stands for Ways and Means Advances. So Ways and Means Advances for Government of India from April to September 2025 has been decided. Now, before we go through with the news, before we understand the nitty-gritties of this particular circular or notification, we need to understand a very important term, and that is WMA. Trust me guys, this is a concept which has a great potential that it can be asked in the descriptive format, and keeping that in mind, I will be challenging it, I will be discussing it, and I will be decoding it for you in a very detailed manner so that you can write a very good answer for the upcoming examination if it is asked related to WMA. I hope you all must have heard about WMA, but many of you might not be clear with its concept. But today, or I would say after this particular session, you will be pretty confident regarding what actually Ways and Means Advances is. So first, I start my discussion regarding the term Ways and Means Advances. Ways and Means Advances is always said that it was launched back in 1997, and then I would say this is specifically related to Government of India. Before this, Ways and Means Advances was alone available for the state government, but since 1997, state government as well as center government, they can avail the service of Ways and Means Advances. But the question over here is, so what actually is the meaning of the term Ways and Means Advances, how it is used, what is the benefit of this particular term with respect to the government? See, whenever we talk about government, we know this point very well. That whenever the government's budget is framed, in the case of government budget framing, we talk about two important things. One, we call it as total receipts of the government, and other one, we call it as total expenditure of the government. The moment government frame its budget, it comes up with a term that is known as deficit. But the question over here is, so what is the actual meaning of deficit? So deficit basically means whenever total expenditure of the government is greater than total receipt, that leads to deficit, that leads to a mismatch. और अगर government चाहती है अपने निर्धारित, अपने pre-decided expenditures को करना, then government should have the same receipts. What I'm trying to say, ये वो बात है कि सर मैं खर्च तो करना चाहता हूं 105 रुपए, बट आई हैव ओनली 5 रुपीज और आई हैव ओनली 100 रुपीज इन माई पॉकेट, विल इट बी पॉसिबल टू डू दिस एक्सपेंडिचर? ऑब्वियसली नॉट. So if you want to run, if you want to implement this particular budget, then what you need is, sir, you need this extra 5 rupees. How it can be obtained? So there are two options. Either government decrease its expenditure, which will result in decrease in the development rate, growth rate of the economy. And second is government can try to increase its income. But again, if government is trying to increase its income, obviously with the help of tax and all, it will increase the burden on the economy. It will increase or I would say it will increase burden on the consumers, and that will lead to decrease in consumption capacity of the public of the nation, and that consumption capacity decrease will impact the GDP growth rate, which has been witnessed in the past. So ना तो गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर कम कर सकती है और ना ही गवर्नमेंट एब्रप्टली अपनी इनकम को बढ़ा सकती है. सो इन ऑर्डर टू ओवरकम दिस मिसमैच, व्हाट विल गवर्नमेंट डू? सर, गवर्नमेंट विल बोरो द फंड्स. What will government do? So government will borrow the funds. Now the first question is, according to government, it has been very clearly mentioned by the parliament, by the lawmaking authorities, that government should borrow the funds from the market. Government should try to borrow majority funds from the market with the help of government securities. So in that particular case, government will overcome this borrowing with the help of, or government will overcome this mismatch with the help of borrowings, and this borrowing is going to be done with the help of government securities. We know that we have short-term securities, even we have long-term securities, whatever it is required. But is it possible कि government जितनी चाहे उतनी government securities issue कर सकती है? Is it possible for the government to issue as much security as it can? No, sir. According to FRBM Act 2003, it has been very clearly mentioned that government should try to restrict its borrowing up to 3% of GDP. Same goes for state, and in that particular case I talk about the state gross domestic product or gross state domestic product. So in that particular scenario, this 3% is the limit which was fixed under FRBM Act. फिर उसके बाद कोविड आया और कोविड के आने के बाद ये लिमिट्स को ब्रीच करना पड़ा in order to overcome the scenarios which were prevailing in the economy. ठीक, अब जब हम बजट बनाते हैं, whenever the budget is framed by the government, obviously government borrow the funds in order to do what? Sir, in order to balance the budget. अब गवर्नमेंट ने अपने बजट को तो बैलेंस कर लिया. Government has balanced its budget. How come the balancing has been done? So balancing has been done with the help of borrowing. अब गवर्नमेंट ने ये जो पैसा बोरो किया, इसकी मदद से गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू मैनेज दिस मिसमैच, एंड गवर्नमेंट इज इन अ कैपेसिटी टू रन द बजट, गवर्नमेंट इज इन द कैपेसिटी टू इंप्लीमेंट द बजट. लेकिन वहां पे एक प्रॉब्लम है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि सर, जब हम गवर्नमेंट की रिसीट्स की बात करते हैं, इन केस ऑफ गवर्नमेंट रिसीट्स, मेजॉरिटी रिसीट्स कम फ्रॉम टैक्स, फॉर एग्जांपल जीएसटी. Majority receipts come from corporate tax, majority receipts come from income tax. For that matter, if I take only and only GST, you tell me in the comment section, GST का collection क्या यूनिफॉर्म है? Do we have a uniform GST collection कि हर मंथ जो GST collection होगा by the government, it is equal? Is that a case? नहीं सर, we always witness कि अप्रैल में जीएसटी का कलेक्शन बहुत ज्यादा होगा, देन ड्यूरिंग द फेस्टिव सीजन नियर अक्टूबर, नवंबर, दिसंबर, वहां जाकर हमारा परचेज बढ़ेगा. यू ऑल विल बी परचेजिंग न्यू क्लोथ्स, न्यू बाइक, न्यू कार, दैट विल रिजल्ट इन इंक्रीज इन जीडीपी. बट जो मिड मंथ्स आएंगे, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई टॉक अबाउट जुलाई, अगस्त, ये वो मंथ्स हैं जहां पर जीएसटी कलेक्शन फॉल करेगा. और जब जीएसटी कलेक्शन फॉल करेगा, दैट मींस उस मंथ का गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू कम हो गया. उस मंथ के लिए गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू कम हो गया. अब गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू तो कम हो गया, बट ऑन द अदर साइड गवर्नमेंट का एक्सपेंडिचर तो फिक्स है. फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द सैलरीज. अब गवर्नमेंट ने जो सैलरी पे करनी है वो तो हर मंथ इट्स गोइंग टू बी इक्वल. इफ द सैलरी इज गोइंग टू बी इक्वल एवरी मंथ, which states that there is or there will be situations where government will witness a mismatch. और जब ये mismatch होगा, mismatch in what? Mismatch in revenue and expenditure. This month we have a revenue of this much, but we have to make the expenditure which is more than the revenue. In that particular scenario, government is allowed to borrow the funds from RBI, but that borrowing is done for short term, and that short term borrowing which is done by government from RBI in order to fulfill or in order to fight against this mismatch scenario is basically termed as ways and means advances. Is it clear everyone? ये पॉइंट क्लियर होना बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. वाई ये पॉइंट क्लियर होना बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है? बिकॉज वेन एवर दिस टॉपिक कम्स इन माई माइंड कि WMA है, गवर्नमेंट कैन बोरो फ्रॉम RBI, क्वेश्चन ये है कि सर इसकी जरूरत कब पड़ी या क्यों पड़ी? बजट जब बनाया था तब तो मैंने बजट को बैलेंस किया था, और जब मैंने बजट को बैलेंस किया तो फिर ये मिसमैच क्यों? तो मिसमैच क्यों हुआ? बिकॉज ऑफ द इर्रेगुलर रेवेन्यू. रेवेन्यू इज नॉट कांस्टेंट फॉर एंटायर ईयर. रेवेन्यू विल वेरी मंथ टू मंथ, और जब आपका रेवेन्यू वेरी करेगा मंथ टू मंथ एंड इवन योर एक्सपेंडिचर में वेरी मंथ टू मंथ, देयर विल बी अ सिचुएशन ऑफ मिसमैच, एंड इन ऑर्डर टू कोप अप with the situation of mismatch, there is an opportunity in the hands of RBI, there is an opportunity in the hands of government that is known as WMA, ways and means advances. Have you ever given a thought कि सर आपने कहा कि ये जो ways and means advances है इसे 1997 में लॉन्च किया गया. अगर इसे 1997 में लॉन्च किया गया तो उससे पहले क्या होता था? उससे पहले there was a term that is known as deficit financing. डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग का मतलब क्या? सर डेफिसिट फाइनेंसिंग का मतलब है जब गवर्नमेंट के पास मिसमैच होगा और देयर इज अ सिचुएशन ऑफ डेफिशिएंसी व्हेन गवर्नमेंट हैज टू मेक मोर एक्सपेंडिचर इन कंपैरिजन टू इट्स रेवेन्यू और इट्स रिसीट्स. इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस RBI used to print extra currency in order to finance this deficit, but that extra printing of currency will lead to unexpected inflation, will lead to unexpected money supply, because of which that was stopped and there was an option given which is known as WMA. यहां तक समझ आया? Is it clear everyone? Let's read it out. So what is WMA? So WMA was launched with the purpose to meet the mismatches in the receipts and payments of the government. Now government can avail immediate cash from RBI, which means government can borrow funds from RBI if required, but this borrowing can be done for a maximum time of 90 days. This borrowing can be done for a maximum time of 90 days, और इस 90 days की borrowing के against जो rate of interest charge होगा, that is going to be what? Sir, that is going to be repo rate. That is going to be what? Repo rate. एक बार मुझे comment section में बताइएगा, what is the current repo rate going on? Is it 6.25, 6.5 or 6.75? Section 175 of RBI Act 1934 authorize the central government. तो ये जो section है, section 17, ये authorize करता है whom? Authorize the central bank, that is the RBI, to lend loan to the state government as well as to the central government in order to overcome the situation of mismatch, and these borrowings, these lendings will be done for a maximum period of 90 days. लेकिन जैसे आप WMO के बारे में थोड़ा डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे, then you will come across with these three terms. One we call it as normal WMA, one we call it as special WMA, और एक term दी जाती है that is known as overdraft. ये जो special WMA है ना, special WMA is also known as special drawing facility. It is also known as special drawing facility. अब ये स्पेशल ड्राइंग फैसिलिटी क्या है, उससे पहले एक चीज मैं आपको बता दूं जो आपको याद रखना है लाइफ लॉन्ग, वो ये कि सर ये जो फैसिलिटी है दिस इज ओनली एंड ओनली फॉर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. ये जो फैसिलिटी है जिसके बारे में मैं बात कर रहा हूं दैट इज स्पेशल WMA और स्पेशल ड्राइंग फैसिलिटी. इट इज ओनली एंड ओनली फॉर द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. इट इज नॉट अवेलेबल, इट इज नॉट अलाउड फॉर द सेंटर गवर्नमेंट. अब ये है क्या? अब अगर आप कंफ्यूज हो रहे हैं, यार ये SDF टर्म तो पहले भी सुनी है, SDF के बारे में तो पहले भी सुना है, और अगर आप इस टर्म में कंफ्यूज हो रहे हैं, then I will make that point clear. There is one term which is known as standing deposit facility. याद आ रहा है? I hope you must be worried about this कि ये क्या था, क्या ये सेम है या अलग है? नो बेटा, it's different. So what is standing deposit facility? Standing deposit facility का मतलब क्या? जब भी कभी बैंक के पास सरप्लस फंड है, इफ यू रिमेंबर मैंने पेड क्लासेस में बताया था कि बैंक विल ट्राई टू मेंटेन इट्स ओवरनाइट बैलेंसेस टू जीरो, एंड इफ बैंक इज हैविंग सरप्लस फंड्स, बैंक कैन डिपॉजिट देयर सरप्लस फंड्स विद RBI, अगेंस्ट विच against which RBI will pay rate of interest. One rate of interest is known as reverse repo rate, which is around 3.35%. But this reverse repo rate comes up with a government security, which means RBI आपको government security देगा, बैंक को government security देगा, collateral कि भैया अगर future में I'm not in a position to pay back, then you can utilize these government securities to recover your funds. But RBI ने एक option दी. RBI ने कहा I'm ready to give you loan. Sorry, I'm ready to accept your surplus funds. I'm ready to accept your surplus funds against which I will be paying you SDF. SDF is standing deposit facility, which is going to be obviously more than reverse repo rate. क्यों? क्योंकि this is without collateral. इसके against RBI कोई भी collateral यानी कि government security नहीं देगा बैंक को, but in case of reverse repo rate, it comes with collateral. And what is the collateral in this case? That is the government securities. तो ये था आपका स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी. तो इसके साथ उसे रिलेट मत करना. रिमेंबर दिस पॉइंट. सेकंड पॉइंट व्हिच यू नीड टू रिमेंबर ओवर हियर इज, एक और टर्म आती है. आई डोंट नो वेदर यू आर कंफ्यूज इन दैट विद दैट पर्टिकुलर टर्म और नॉट. दैट इज नोन एज स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग राइट. याद है आपको ये टर्म? तो मैंने स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग फैसिलिटी से स्पेशल डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी आपको समझा दिया, सॉरी स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी समझा दिया, और उसके साथ साथ एक और टर्म है दैट इज स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग राइट्स. ये जो स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग राइट्स है, इट इज रिलेटेड टू IMF. इट इज व्हाट सर? ये एक हम कह सकते हैं कि इट्स अ करेंसी. इट्स अ करेंसी. आई नॉट यूज अ वर्ड real currency. It's a virtual currency which is created by IMF in order to make the transactions, in order to complete the flow of funds within the IMF member with the help of this, that is known as special drawing right. So special drawing right अलग हो गया, standing deposit facility अलग हो गया. What I am talking about is that is special drawing facility. If someone asks me, so what is this special drawing facility, then my answer to this particular question is, let's talk about state government, क्योंकि ये सिर्फ state government के लिए है. अब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इन द पास्ट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज परचेज की थी. गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी मींस सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने जो पास्ट में गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज इशू की थी, वो गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज को परचेज किया था स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने. और आज अगर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को फंड्स की रिक्वायरमेंट है, तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कैन अप्रोच टू RBI and can borrow the loan against these government securities as collateral. So when state government borrow short-term loan from RBI, from RBI, which is valid up to 90 days against central government securities, that is basically termed as what? So that is basically termed as special drawing facility. और ये जो स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग फैसिलिटी है, इट इज अवेलेबल ओनली एंड ओनली टू स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. और इसके अगेंस्ट जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है, दैट इज लेस देन रेपो रेट. दैट इज नॉट इक्वल टू रेपो रेट. क्यों? उसका रीजन है. व्हाट इज द रीजन? सर अगर मैं आपसे लोन लूं अगेंस्ट कोलैटरल, ऑब्वियसली यू विल चार्ज लेस रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट और लेस लेंडिंग रेट इफ आई एम बोरोइंग विदाउट कोलैटरल. तो यहां पर नॉर्मल WMA क्या है? सर नॉर्मल WMA का मतलब है चाहे तो सेंटर गवर्नमेंट, चाहे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, if they are in need of funds, if they want to manage the temporary mismatch, they can reach to RBI. They can reach to RBI in order to borrow the funds. They can reach to RBI in order to borrow the funds, and this borrowing is done for 90 days without collateral, and the rate of interest which is going to be charged or which is going to be paid by central or state government is going to be repo rate. तो normal WMA क्या हुआ? Clear हो गया. What is special WMA? That is clear. Normal WMA is available for both center as well as state government, but special WMA is available only and only for the state government. अगला point, third point is very important. What is overdraft? अब मुझे कोई पूछे कि sir, what do you understand by the term overdraft? How I'm going to reply? देखो, जब भी कभी हम WMA की बात करते हैं, WMA is a loan which is without security. And if normal WMA is a loan which is without security, तो कितना लोन लिया जाएगा? Those limits, they are pre-decided. These limits, the limits of WMA are pre-decided by RBI as well as Government of India. तो ये म्यूचुअली बैठकर मिलकर आराम से बात करते हैं and then decide the limits of WMA. अब आपने limits of WMA के अकॉर्डिंग लोन लिया and you are paying repo rate. बट उसके बाद भी यू हैव नॉट रीपेड द WMA, आप WMA अपना पूरा यूटिलाइज कर चुके हैं, यू हैव यूटिलाइज द एंटायर लिमिट, देन अगेन इफ यू आर इन नीड ऑफ फंड्स, देन इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस यू कैन बोरो विद द हेल्प ऑफ अ न्यू टर्म विच इज नोन एज ओवरड्राफ्ट। और जब हम ये वर्ड यूज करते हैं ओवरड्राफ्ट, ऑब्वियसली इन केस ऑफ ओवरड्राफ्ट government borrow funds from RBI, but this borrowing is above WMA. This borrowing is above word would be wrong here. I would use a word, this borrowing is after WMA. Once the WMA is exhausted, उसके बाद जो borrowing government करेगा आफ्टर WMA, दैट विल बी टर्म्ड एज ओवरड्राफ्ट, और उसके अगेंस्ट जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट चार्ज होगा दैट इज गोइंग टू बी ग्रेटर देन रेपो रेट। ये भी ऑब्वियस है, आई होप तीनों पॉइंट्स क्लियर है। यहां लोन लिया विद सिक्योरिटी, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट लेस देन रेपो रेट, लोन लिया विदाउट सिक्योरिटी, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट रेपो रेट, लोन इज टेकन बियॉन्ड द प्री डिसाइडेड लिमिट, वंस द प्री डिसाइडेड लिमिट इज यूटिलाइज, अब उसके ज्यादा जाकर भी आप लोन ले रहे हैं, इसका मतलब आपकी हालत खराब है, यू आर नॉट डूइंग वेल एंड द रिस्क अगेंस्ट दिस लोन इज इंक्रीजिंग, एंड व्हेनेवर द रिस्क इंक्रीजेस लेंडिंग रेट इंक्रीजेस, एंड इसीलिए यहां पे जो रेपो रेट होगा दैट इज गोइंग टू बी रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट विल बी मोर देन रेपो रेट। पढ़ लेते हैं, देन आई विल डिस्कस द रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट विद यू, प्लीज पे अटेंशन। स्पेशल WMA या स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग फैसिलिटी इज प्रोवाइडेड अगेंस्ट कोलैटरल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज, जो कि किसके पास है, सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास है। आफ्टर द स्टेट हैज एग्जॉस्टेड द लिमिट ऑफ SDF, तो पहले तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कोशिश करेगा कि लोन ले SDF पे, व्हाई, बिकॉज ऑफ लो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट। अरे भैया मैं स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हूं, आई हैव द गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज, if I have the government securities, I will utilize them to borrow the loan, and that too at a lower rate of interest, which is profitable for me. So first, as a state government, I'll try to exhaust my government securities. Once my government securities are exhausted, then I will be using the normal WMA, where I will be borrowing the loan without collateral with a limit of up to 90 days. अब, if WMA exceeds 90 days, अगर WMA एक्सीड हो जाता है 90 डेज से और उसके बाद आपको और फंड्स की जरूरत है, दैट कैन आल्सो बी डन, एंड दैट बोरोइंग इज डन अंडर द टर्म दैट इज ओवरड्राफ्ट। जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया कि जो लिमिट है फॉर WMA, दे आर डिसाइडेड, लिमिट्स आर डिसाइडेड बाय गवर्नमेंट एज वेल एज RBI म्यूचुअली। तो इन लिमिट्स को म्यूचुअली डिसाइड किया जाता है और इन लिमिट्स को रिवाइज भी किया जाता है पीरियोडिकली ड्यूरिंग कोविड-19 और पोस्ट कोविड-19। काफी बार इन लिमिट्स को रिवाइज किया गया, रिव्यू किया गया, बिकॉज ऑफ अनएक्सपेक्टेड एक्सपेंसेस विच वर बम्बार्डिंग ऑन द गवर्नमेंट, उसकी वजह से इसे रिवाइज किया गया इन द पास्ट। तो इसे periodically अनाउंस किया जाता, बट आफ्टर द अनाउंसमेंट इफ एनी रिवीजन इज रिक्वायर्ड दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी डन। अब क्वेश्चन आता है कि सर रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट क्या होगा अगर आप लोन ले रहे हैं SDF पे, दैट मीन्स यू आर बोरोइंग द लोन अगेंस्ट government securities as collateral, which is available or which is applicable only for state government. In that case, the rate of interest which state government is supposed to pay to the RBI is repo rate minus 1%. अगर हम WMA की बात करें तो WMA में अगर आप लोन लेते हैं for 90 days, rate of interest is going to be repo rate, और अगर आप ओवरड्राफ्ट की बात करें तो ओवरड्राफ्ट के केस में रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इज रेपो रेट प्लस 2%, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इज रेपो रेट प्लस 5%। इन दोनों में डिफरेंस बताता हूं। आपका जो WMA है उसकी वैल्यू कितनी है, सर आपके WMA की वैल्यू है 1,50,000 करोड़। ये अभी हमने देखा था ना, ये देखो ये लिखा RBI ने अनाउंस किया है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का जो WMA की लिमिट है म्यूचुअली बैठ के डिसाइड किया, दैट इज 1,50,000 करोड़। अब ये जो 1,50,000 करोड़ है उतना आपने WMA लिया। अब WMA के बाद you need more funds, and if you need more funds you will go for overdraft. Now if you are going for overdraft, और अगर आपकी ओवरड्राफ्ट वैल्यू अप टू WMA लिमिट है, मींस अप टू WMA है, दैट इज 1.5 लाख करोड़ या उससे कम है, उस केस में जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट होगा वो होगा रेपो रेट प्लस 2%। सर ये इससे ज्यादा क्यों है, इससे ज्यादा ऑब्वियस है क्योंकि भैया आपको हमने एक लिमिट डिसाइड की थी और वो लिमिट म्यूचुअली डिसाइड हुई थी, आगे पीछे ऊपर नीचे सब चीजें डिसाइड करने के बाद वी केम टू अ कंक्लूजन कि इतने WMA से काम चल जाएगा। अगर उतने WMA से आपका काम नहीं चल रहा, दैट मींस समथिंग इज रॉन्ग। समथिंग इज फिशी कुकिंग आउट देयर, तो उस केस में हायर रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट विल बी चार्ज बिकॉज द रिस्क हैज इंक्रीज्ड। अब अगर आपने ओवरड्राफ्ट किया, मतलब WMA एग्जॉस्ट करने के बाद नाउ यू वेंट टू ओवरड्राफ्ट, और वो जो ओवरड्राफ्ट है दैट इज ग्रेटर देन WMA लिमिट, यानी कि वो 1,50,000 करोड़ आज के हिसाब से, याद रखना दिस इज नॉट फिक्स्ड, ये हर साल नया आता है, हर साल रिवाइज किया जाता है, ये फिक्स नहीं है। आज जो लिमिट है मैं उसके अकॉर्डिंग बता रहा हूं। आज अगर लिमिट 1.5 लाख करोड़ की है फॉर नेक्स्ट फ्यू मंथ्स, उन दिनों में, उन महीनों में अगर गवर्नमेंट ने, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने बोरो किया, ओवरड्राफ्ट किया मोर देन WMA से, यानी 1.5 लाख करोड़ से ज्यादा, तो उस केस में जो इंटरेस्ट होगा दैट विल बी रेपो रेट प्लस 5%। अब सर आपने WMA पे लोन लिया लेकिन 90 दिन तक आपने पैसा वापस नहीं किया। अगर 90 दिन तक आपने पैसा वापस नहीं किया तो अगर आपकी आउटस्टैंडिंग 3 महीने से ज्यादा हो जाती है, उस केस में जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट होगा दैट विल बी रेपो रेट प्लस 1%। कंक्लूड कर देता हूं, ध्यान देना। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का अगर रिसीट और एक्सपेंडिचर मिसमैच है तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कैन बोरो फ्रॉम RBI, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कैन बोरो फ्रॉम RBI on pre-decided limit which is known as WMA without security, WMA without security, without collateral for 90 days, और ये जो borrowing होगी that will be against repo rate after exhausting the WMA। beyond WMA, अगर आप beyond WMA से जाकर लोन लेना चाहते हैं that will be termed as overdraft, that will be termed as overdraft। और overdraft का रेट क्या होगा सर? ये होगा रेपो रेट प्लस 2%। अगर आपकी ओवरड्राफ्ट वैल्यू अप टू WMA लिमिट है, वॉट एवर इज द करंट लिमिट, और अगर आपकी ओवरड्राफ्ट वैल्यू रेपो मोर देन WMA है, मोर देन WMA लिमिट है, तो उस केस में दैट विल बी व्हाट सर? दैट विल बी रेपो रेट प्लस 5%। अब अगर यहां पे मैं बात करूं सर, ऑल दीज कंडीशंस आर एप्लीकेबल ऑन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एज वेल। ये स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, ये भी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, ये एप्लीकेबल है, लेकिन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पास इन दोनों के अलावा एक और सॉल्यूशन है दैट इज स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग फैसिलिटी। स्पेशल ड्रॉइंग फैसिलिटी में बोरोइंग होगी अगेंस्ट गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी, और ये जो बोरोइंग होगी दैट विल बी अगेंस्ट रेपो रेट माइनस 1%। समझ आया? माइनस 1% रेपो रेट प्लस 2%, रेपो रेट प्लस 5%। इफ इट इज क्लियर जस्ट गिव मी यस सर। If it is clear, just give me yes sir, so that I can move ahead। इतनी डिटेल में चीजों को समझना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, because when there will be a need to write a descriptive answer, until and unless you are crystal clear with the concept, it will be difficult for you to frame the answer। It will be very difficult for you to frame the answer। ठीक है जी, समझ आ गया? चलो कंक्लूड करते हैं फिर इस डिस्कशन को। WMA can be alternative to raising longer tenure funds from the market issuing government securities। ठीक है, तो WMA is much cheaper than borrowing from market। तो अगर आप मार्केट से बोरो करते हैं उससे बेटर है। SDF काफी इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म है क्योंकि SDF की मदद से आप बोरोइंग भी कर रहे हैं, एंड दैट टू एट अ लोअर रेट which is helpful for the state government receipt and expenditure mismatch management। अब मैं आ गया हूं वापस जो RBI की नोटिफिकेशन थी, जो मैंने अभी आपको स्टार्टिंग में नोटिफिकेशन दिखाई थी ना, ये वाली। जस्ट गिव अ लुक। नाउ आई एम ओपनिंग अप। यही जो लाइनें यहां पे लिखी हैं नोटिफिकेशन है, बस वही मैं प्रेजेंट कर रहा हूं और उनको वर्ड बाय वर्ड समझा देता हूं ताकि कोई कंफ्यूजन ना हो। सो रिसेंटली एज पर द लेटेस्ट नोटिफिकेशन, इट हैज बीन डिसाइडेड in consultation with Government of India that the limit of ways and means advances for not entire financial year, for H1 का मतलब क्या होता है? फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल ईयर, दैट इज 25-26, और वो लिमिट कितनी है? दैट इज 1,50,000 करोड़। तो आपको आज लिमिट अनाउंस कर दी, 1.5 लाख करोड़ की लिमिट है। अगले 6 महीने तक आप 1.5 लाख करोड़ का जब चाहे लोन ले सकते हैं अंडर WMA, जिसका रिटर्न डेडलाइन क्या होगा? दैट इज 90 डेज। अगर आप रिटर्न नहीं करते इवन आफ्टर 90 डेज, देन यू हैव टू पे 1% एक्स्ट्रा ऑन द रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, दैट इज रेपो रेट प्लस 1%। दूसरा पॉइंट, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, प्लीज पे अटेंशन, दिस इज रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। ये देखना ध्यान से। देखो, मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में बताया था दैट गवर्नमेंट गवर्नमेंट फ्रेम्स द बजट, और जब गवर्नमेंट ने बजट फ्रेम किया एट दैट पर्टिकुलर मोमेंट गवर्नमेंट estimates its expenditure, government estimates its receipts, and if there is a mismatch between expenditure and receipt, this mismatch, this gap is filled with the help of government securities which are pre-decided at the time of presentation of the budget. और जैसे ही we step into the new financial year, government start issuing the government securities in order to fulfill that mismatch or in order to fulfill that gap. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या है, यहां पर एक प्रॉब्लम है, वो प्रॉब्लम क्या कि सर अगर गवर्नमेंट ने अपने WMA को यूटिलाइज किया, if government has utilized 75% of its WMA, that means situation is pretty serious. In that particular case, RBI recommend government to issue more government securities in order to raise funds from the market. In order to raise funds from the market, please read this point very carefully. Reserve Bank of India may trigger fresh flotation of market loans, that is government securities, when Government of India utilizes 75% of the WMA limit. तो जब आप WMA limit को 75% लिमिट को यूटिलाइज कर लेते हैं, उस समय इफ आरबीआई विल श्योरली कम विद द सजेशन कि सर आपके WMA की लिमिट 75% तक एग्जॉस्ट हो चुकी है, आई डोंट वांट दैट यू गो इन ओवरड्राफ्ट, आई डोंट वांट कि आपका WMA रीपेमेंट डिले हो, I request you, let's issue more market securities in order to raise the funds from the public. Clear? So ये 75% वाला clause काफी important है. It can be asked in a paragraph format, और paragraph format में 2 marker में इस question के आने के पूरे chances है, mark कर लेना. Next is Reserve Bank of India in consultation with Government of India retains the flexibility to revise the limit. तो ये जो limit है that is 1,50,000 crores. So this limit can be revised within next 6 months whenever required. There is there is a provision that government and RBI they will sit together again और वो कहेंगे नहीं यार बात बन नहीं रही, चलो इन्हें रिवाइज करते हैं. That is also allowed. अब इसमें अगर हम इंटरेस्ट रेट्स की बात करें तो आई होप नाउ इट इज क्लियर. WMA मतलब आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट नॉर्मल WMA. ओवरड्राफ्ट मतलब आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट borrowings beyond WMA limits, borrowing after exhausting the WMA limits. Is it clear? So I hope the notification is clear. The entire term WMA is clear. Different types of WMAs are clear. So all these terms are clear. If it is clear, just give me a thumbs up so that I can move ahead. And do not forget to like the session. Do not forget to like the session if you haven't liked it yet, and do share the session with your friends. Done guys? चलो, moving on to the next question. अगला क्वेश्चन देखिएगा, नेक्स्ट न्यूज की तरफ बढ़ेंगे विद अ क्वेश्चन. द क्वेश्चन सेज डैश विल रिसीव हाउ मच फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस फ्रॉम IMF's एक्सटेंडेड फंड फैसिलिटी अंडर द न्यू अग्रीमेंट. नाउ यू मस्ट बी वंडरिंग कि सर आपको नहीं लग रहा ये न्यूज थोड़ी बैंकिंग न्यूज है? इट इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर स्टूडेंट्स हु आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर IBPS or SBI. I agree to that. The figures, the name of the country, that is more relevant to the IBPS and SBI PO exams, but this term, explanation of this term, understanding this term, it is more relevant to your RBI examination. So read the question, give me the answer. So WMA limit is overall disbursement limit for the state and central government, or it is the maximum limit separately? So see, we have a separate limit for central government, we have a separate limit for states. तो states के लिए पहले पूरी limit decide की जाती है, and that limit is further divided into the states. ठीक है, तो which limit we are talking about? This limit is basically related to the central government. Is it clear, Girish? Is it clear? So the answer to this particular question, let's find the answer. Go through with the news now. Pakistan and IMF, they have successfully concluded a negotiation leading to a staff level agreement. इस agreement के तहत now Pakistan has access to up to $1 billion under the extended fund facility and introduces a new 28-month resilience and sustainability facility granting an additional $1.3 billion of loan, which is equivalent to special drawing rights 1 billion, which is a virtual currency of IMF. Got it? Now, if I come back to the question can be answered from one slide itself. तो question क्या होगा? So the answer is Pakistan will receive how much funds? So Pakistan will receive $1 billion assistance from IMF under extended fund facility as per the new agreement which is signed. So IMF delegations were sent to Karachi, Islamabad, फिर वहां negotiation हुई और negotiation के बाद ये final decision लिया गया. So pending approval by IMF Executive Board, Pakistan is set to receive $1 billion under EEF, bringing the total disbursement under this program. So ये पहली बार नहीं है कि पाकिस्तान को लोन दिया गया under extended fund facility. This is not the first time. Pakistan has already received $1 billion under EEF. Now Pakistan will be receiving one more, or I would say $1 plus $1 billion under the same. अब हमारे लिए जो important है, again, which has a potential, it can be asked in a 2-marker format in your paper, in your phase 2, paper 3, that is EEF. So let's understand, let's decode what is EEF. I'll read it one by one and I'll explain it simultaneously. Extended fund facility. Extended fund facility was basically a facility which was instituted by IMF in order to support the nations which are in a serious scenario. So established to assist countries which are experiencing serious payment imbalances. And why they are experiencing these serious imbalances? That is because of structural issues or slow growth and any other position, that is weak balance of payment. If I talk about Pakistan, so Pakistan is witnessing slow growth. Pakistan is also witnessing an issue related to the balance of payment, which has made Pakistan eligible for this particular fund. Otherwise, it is not allowed or it is not available for every nation. It is only available if you are in this situation. So it supports the comprehensive program, include policies needed to correct structural imbalances. So in order to overcome the structural imbalances in the economy, this kind of fund has been created. What is the purpose of this fund? Please pay attention. It supports countries' economic programs which are aimed at moving towards a stable and sustainable macroeconomic position with strong and durable poverty reduction and growth. तो अगर मैं मोटी-मोटी बात कहूं तो मोटी-मोटी बात बस इतनी सी है कि ये जो EEF है, this EEF is basically an extended fund, as the name suggests, extra fund as the name suggests, which is announced by IMF, under which IMF help the nations which are witnessing serious payment issues. That means they are not in a position to pay their foreign bills, they are not in a position to pay their past borrowings. In that particular case, they can approach to IMF. If they are eligible, they will be getting extra loan, they will be getting extra funds under the same. Eligibility, as I said, it is available to all poverty reduction and growth trust eligible member countries that face a balance of payment problem. So अगर कोई country है which is the part of poverty reduction and growth trust is eligible under this. And what is the duration? Sir, assistance under the EEF agreement is provided for an initial duration of 3 to up to 5 years. ये अगला question आपके लिए बनेगा. EEF is available. Extended fund facility is available for what time? Sir, it is available for 3 to 5 years with an overall maximum duration of 5 years. So minimum क्या होगा? Sir, you can borrow the funds for 3 years, but what is the upper limit? So the upper limit is 5 years, which is offered by IMF. Following the expiration, cancellation or termination of this agreement, additional agreement may be approved. अगर आपका ये agreement complete हो जाता है and Pakistan is still not in the position to pay back the funds, then it can be a new agreement can be or an additional agreement can be approved so that you can continue with the same fund. You can utilize the same fund for some more time. Is it clear, everyone? So अगली बार अगर हमसे कोई पूछे what is extended fund facility? Extended fund facility is the facility provided by IMF to the countries which are not doing well, and if the country is eligible, they can borrow the loan for 3 to 5 years under this particular facility, and this will help them to manage their balance of payment issues, to manage their slow growth, as well as to manage the structural imbalances which are prevailing in the country. Got it? Chal. Moving on to the third news of the day. The third news talks about RBI increased the aggregate limit available to SPDs under standing liquidity facility. Under standing liquidity facility. Let's decode the news over here itself. RBI ने कोई limit increase की है किस पर? SPDs. What are these SPDs? So they are known as special, they are known as special primary dealers. Yes or no? What are SPDs, guys? What are SPDs? Anyone? Anyone can give me the full form. Is it special primary dealers? Is it special primary dealers? No, sir. It is stand-alone. It is what, sir? It is stand-alone primary dealers. So stand-alone primary dealers, there is an increase in value under the standing liquidity facility. Before I answer, before I discuss this particular news, I think we have to discuss in much detail regarding the term not only stand-alone primary dealers, but let's discuss the term what are primary dealers. Please pay attention, guys. This is going to be really very important. अभी हमने बात की that whenever government is in need of funds, let's say center government, whenever center government is in need of funds or center government has framed its budget, once the central government has framed the budget, then central government will raise the funds from the market. That means government will issue the government securities in order to borrow the funds from the market. So central government जब ये securities को issue करेगा market को, तो who will be the buyers? Sir, obviously the buyers are going to be banks plus other institutes. Buyers are going to be banks, financial institutes, insurance companies, all of them. But मैंने यहाँ पे बैंक को highlight क्यों किया? I have highlighted bank because of the one reason. What is that reason? So that is SLR. Bank has a condition that bank needs to maintain certain percentage of their NDTL in the form of statutory liquidity ratio, which means your reserves should be in the form of either cash, gold or government securities. Obviously, cash is not a good move to keep the reserves because its value will decrease over the period of time due to inflation. Gold, obviously it's increasing from past few years, but it is again a speculative asset. You may witness a loss, the values may decrease, but the short reserve form where you're going to earn return, that is known as government security. So banks, they want to buy the government securities, or I would say they are even indirectly forced by RBI to buy these government securities. But just think, if all the banks, they are reaching to the RBI to purchase the government securities, it's going to be a great chaos on RBI. So in order to simplify this, RBI comes up with a term that is primary dealers. So RBI said primary dealers are going to be those financial institutes which will be responsible to purchase the government securities issued by government through RBI and then sell those government securities to the banks, other financial institutes as per their requirement. To the banks and other financial institutes as per their requirement, those are known as primary dealers. Now these primary dealers, they are classified into two categories. One, we call them as bank primary dealers. As the name suggests, when bank is acting as a primary dealer, it is bank PD. And when an NBFC or a company which is registered as NBFC, and you must register yourself as an NBFC at least 1 year before, and after completing 1 year as an NBFC, then only you can apply for the primary dealer license authorization, which will be given by RBI. And those primary dealers, they are termed as stand-alone primary dealers. Is it clear? They are termed as what? So they are termed as stand-alone primary dealers. Is it clear? Okay. So stand-alone primary dealers are what? So standalone primary dealers are the entities like subsidiaries of scheduled commercial banks or NBFCs that act as market makers. Market makers means they are the buyers of government security and they are the sellers of government security. So what is a market? Market is a place where buying and selling of goods can be done, services can be done, financial instruments can be done. And in this case, primary dealer is buying the government securities on one side and selling it from the other side. So it's a market maker which buy and sell the securities in order to ensure liquidity. So what do you mean by the term liquidity here? Liquidity means if there is a market, and in a market, your instrument can be easily converted into cash, which means your instrument has high liquidity or your instrument is liquid in nature. For example, I say gold, it's highly liquid, you can sell it and get the funds. Government securities, they're highly liquid, you can sell them even in the stock exchanges to raise the funds. Similarly, Similarly, government securities are liquid because of these primary dealers, because they provide a platform, they provide a market where buying and selling of the government securities can be done. In terms of guidelines for primary dealers in government securities market, which was dated back in, so in 1995, the guidelines were presented, and these guidelines were presented for what? Sir, for the primary dealers. Special primary dealers, these are the entities that are authorized by RBI. Remember this, as I said, authorized by RBI to act as a primary dealer in government security market. They are known as standalone primary dealers. Types include subsidiaries of scheduled commercial banks, Indian subsidiaries of entities incorporated abroad. These are the foreign companies that have a subsidiary in India, and further their subsidiaries, they have a license of primary dealer. And finally, we have the company which is set up under the Companies Act. It has been registered as an NBFC for at least 1 year, and after that get a license or get the authority to operate as a primary dealer will be termed as standalone primary dealers. Moving to the next point. So what is the role of standalone primary dealers in the market? So as I said, standalone primary dealers, they play a very important role, especially related to the government securities market, by underwriting and market making. So they underwrite. Underwrite means they are responsible to purchase it, so that government is okay. If government is issuing the government securities, government is very well aware that these government securities will be purchased with the help of primary dealers only. And once they purchase it, then they come in the market and sell it, so that the liquidity responding to government security can be created. And remember that these securities, government securities, they are purchased through auction. And we have two types of auction which is available over here. One we call it as fixed price auction. And the other one is flexible price auction. What does it mean? For example, government ने announce किया कि सर हम 10,000 करोड़ की government securities issue करना चाहते हैं. The moment government has come up with this announcement, they say every government security is going to be of face value 10,000. It will be issued at 9,800 rupees. और ये जो security है, let's say it is for 6 months. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि सर अगर आप आज परचेज करेंगे, you will be purchasing at 9,800 and you will be getting an interest of 200, and on maturity after 6 months it will be discounted on face value. तो 10,000 रुपए आपको वापस मिल जाएंगे. तो जब हमारा फिक्स्ड प्राइस ऑक्शन होगा, तो फिक्स्ड प्राइस ऑक्शन में प्राइस इज नॉट अ गेम. व्हाट इज द गेम ओवर हियर इज कितना ज्यादा आप डिमांड कर रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, फॉर दीज 10,000 crore securities, we have PD1 demanded for, let's say, 3,000 crore security. PD2 demanded for, let's say, 2,500 crore securities. PD3 demanded for 3,500. I'll take it 3,000, or let's say 4,000 only. Let's say 4,000 crore securities. So 4 और 3 7, and we have 25. Now let's say 1,000 crore security. तो ये 4 primary dealers थे, and these 4 primary dealers, they have submitted the auction. 3,000 करोड़, 2,500 करोड़, 4,000 करोड़ और 1,000 करोड़. So सबसे पहले इशू होगा 4,000 करोड़ को. First the issuing will be done to the highest bidder in not in terms of price, in terms of amount. Second will be to 3,000 crore. Third will be to PD2 who has submitted the auction for 2,500 crores. Total check करना, 4 और 3 7, 7 और 25 कितना हुआ? 9,500 crores. The fourth primary dealer will get only 500 crore worth of securities, क्योंकि इससे ज्यादा available है ही नहीं. Now the question is how these primary dealers are going to make money. So the primary dealer is having a government security जिसका face value है 10,000 और it was discounted at 9,800 for 6 months. अब आई एम अ प्राइमरी डीलर, आई हैव परचेज दिस गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी। कल मेरे पास पीएनबी से कॉल आया, पीएनबी ने कहा, बैंक ने कहा सर मेरा एसएलआर मिसमैच हो रहा है, मुझे गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी चाहिए। मैंने कहा ले जाओ। कहते कितने की? मैंने कहा सर ये गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी अवेलेबल है, इफ यू आर रेडी आई एम रेडी टू सेल इट एट 9820। अब भैया मुझे भी तो अपना घर चलाना है, I have to pay to my employees, I have to run my organization, so I will be charging above this. I will be charging above this and PNB is ready. क्यों PNB ready है? क्योंकि PNB इस ऑक्शन में पार्टिसिपेट कर नहीं पा रहा। क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा? PNB को गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी चाहिए 10,000 रुपए की, ऑक्शन हो रही है हजारों करोड़ों की, PNB उसमें इन्वॉल्व हुआ नहीं, बट PNB कैन नाउ परचेज एज पर its requirement. We call it as tailored government security requirements are fulfilled with the help of primary dealers, but they charge certain commission. They charge certain commission in order to earn profit. Is it clear? Is it clear? हाँ, they are interchangeable. Abhinav, they are interchangeable. There's no issue with that. Is it clear? Just give me yes sir. आगे बढ़ूं? Is it clear? ठीक है. So they facilitate open market operation. Open market operation means when RBI issue the government securities in order to issue or purchase the government securities in order to manage the liquidity in the market. So obviously RBI का first point of contact क्या होगा? That will be primary dealers, which will help RBI to manage the money supply in the market with the help of government security. That is the second benefit of these primary dealers. अब key functions क्या है primary dealers के? Sir, borrowing and lending in money market. So special primary dealers, they can participate in money market activities. So they can participate in money market activities like in call money market, collateralized borrowing and lending obligations and whatnot. Membership of electronic dealing, trading and settlement system. So they are eligible for the membership of platforms like negotiated dealing system, Infinet, that is Indian Financial Network, real-time gross settlement and credit card industry settlements. Then these are the two important points. What are the restrictions? So standalone primary dealers, they are not allowed, very important, they are not allowed to undertake broking in equity, trading, broking in commodities, gold and foreign exchange. हमने सुना ना stock brokers. So these primary dealers, they are not allowed to act as a stock broker. RBI का क्या रोल है सर? RBI का वही रोल है जो हर बार होता है. RBI is the regulator. RBI is responsible to provide the license and RBI will look after the day-to-day operations of the primary dealers. Is it clear everyone? तो क्या है primary dealers? ये clear हो गया. तो अगर ये point clear है, if this point is clear, just give me yes sir. Now I will jump to the news. अभी तक मैंने news तो पढ़ा ही नहीं. अभी तक तो हमने बस ये डिस्कस किया कि प्राइमरी डीलर्स है क्या, और अगर आपने देखा हो तो मैंने नोट्स इस फॉर्मेट पर आपको दिए हैं. आई प्रोवाइडेड द पीडीएफ इन सच अ फॉर्मेट देन यू कैन यूज दीज notes, these PDFs as your reference point. If a question is asked, write a short note on special stand-alone primary dealers. Write a short note on WMA. So today from this session, you have two potential descriptive questions. One is write a short note on WMA. Second is write a short note on stand-alone primary dealers. Now let's discuss the news. So the news says, Reserve Bank of India has announced to increase the aggregate limit available to stand-alone primary dealers under standing liquidity facility. What is this? Standing liquidity facility. So standing liquidity facility basically means if primary dealer is in need of funds. अरे भाई कभी ऐसा हो सकता है ना कि प्राइमरी डीलर के पास कैश क्रंच है, लिक्विडिटी इश्यूज है. सो इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस प्राइमरी डीलर कैन अप्रोच टू आरबीआई and primary dealer can borrow loan from RBI against repo rate. So at existing repo rate, standalone primary dealers, they can borrow loan from RBI under the standing liquidity facility. Its limit has been increased from 10,000 aggregate limit. Aggregate limit means overall limit for all the standalone primary dealers, for all the primary dealers in the country, or I would say the standalone primary dealers in the country. Earlier limit was 10,000 crores. Now it has been increased to 15,000 crore, which will be effective from tomorrow, that is 2nd of April 2025. अब obvious ही बात है कि ये aggregate limit है, तो individual जो हमारे standalone primary dealers हैं, they will be having different limits, and those different limits are being announced or are being shared by RBI to the respective primary dealers. वो आपके और मेरे काम की नहीं है. That is not going to be asked in our examination. अब primary dealers, they are really very important because they were not in news recently. They were in news from past few months. पहला point, earlier इसी महीने में in March 2025, RBI has allowed the standalone primary dealers to participate in all repo operations, irrespective of tenure conducted by central bank. तो central bank जो repo operation conduct करता है, repo rate, reverse repo rate, then we have MSF, we have bank rate, उन सब के लिए now stand alone primary dealer is eligible. पहले क्या था, ये जो हमारे stand alone primary dealers थे, they were not eligible for MSF, but now they are eligible for MSF as well as per the latest update which has been done by RBI. तो ये important point है, इसे भी note down कर लेना. Second point, standalone primary dealers, they were also allowed to participate in other operations as long-term variable repo rate. So long-term variable repo rate means where RBI comes up with lending to the banks for 56 days and even for 90 days under variable repo rate. Earlier only banks were allowed, but now in the last, I would say couple of months ago, this announcement has been made for standalone primary dealers as well. तीसरा पॉइंट क्या है तो देख लो जरा. सबसे पहली चीज, स्टैंड अलोन प्राइमरी डीलर्स के लिए जो अग्रीगेट लिमिट है वो 10,000 करोड़ से बढ़ाकर कितनी कर दी, 15,000 करोड़. ये याद रखिएगा. दूसरा पॉइंट, नाउ दे कैन पार्टिसिपेट इन ऑल द रेपो ऑपरेशंस, इवन दे आर अलाउड टू पार्टिसिपेट फॉर एमएसएफ, एंड दीज स्टैंड अलोन primary dealers, they can participate for variable repo rate which are even for long term, that is 56 days, 90 days, and even for short term, that is for daily variable repo rate के लिए भी अब आपका stand alone primary dealer is allowed, is eligible. समझ आ गई बात. अब आपको लग रहा होगा कहीं ना कहीं कि yes, this is something which has a potential that it can be asked in a descriptive format as well. तो आपके पास match the 2 marker question में तो आने के चांसेस हैं ही. That is because of the current scenario. और वो जो 2 marker में कोई पैराग्राफ फॉर्मेट पे आएगा, that will be on the basis of the out of any one of the 3 news. पहली कौन सी जो हमने आज पढ़ी, दूसरी कौन सी MSF वाली, और तीसरी न्यूज कौन सी, that is related to variable repo rate. अब इसके बेसिस पे अगर पैराग्राफ नहीं आया तो डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन आ सकता है डिस्क्रिप्टिव फॉर्मेट में, राइट अ शॉर्ट नोट ऑन स्टैंड अलोन प्राइमरी डीलर्स. ठीक, क्लियर है जी. तो प्लीज गो थ्रू विद इट. इट्स गोइंग टू हेल्प यू अ लॉट. और उसके बाद आई होप यू हैव रिवाइज्ड द प्रीवियस डेज पीडीएफ. जो हमारा पिछला सेशन हुआ था उसकी पीडीएफ आपने जरूर रिवाइज की होगी. तो आई विल नॉट बी टेकिंग मच टाइम, आई विल नॉट बी सॉल्विंग एनी क्वेश्चन रिगार्डिंग द सेम. आई जस्ट गिव यू एन ओवरव्यू. लास्ट क्लास में वी हैव डिस्कस्ड the master direction which has been published related to RRBs. This was covered, which is really very important. I'm pretty sure that you have gone through with this news. PDF is really very important. Go through with it. It will help you to write a short note on latest amendments or reviews done by RBI for RRBs. ऐसा एक क्वेश्चन आएगा तो आप आंसर कर पाएंगे. नेक्स्ट, अगर कोई क्वेश्चन आएगा रिगार्डिंग सेल्फ रेगुलेटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, अकाउंट एग्रीगेटर्स, फॉर दैट आल्सो दिस पीडीएफ इज मोर देन इनफ. यू कैन जस्ट गो थ्रू विद दिस पीडीएफ सो दैट यू कैन आंसर दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन एज वेल. तो उम्मीद करता हूं आज का सेशन समझ आया होगा, मजा आया होगा. यू मस्ट हैव एंजॉयड द डिस्कशन. विल बी कैचिंग यू ऑल इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन टू गो, बट डोंट फॉरगेट to download the PDF, and PDF will be available on my Telegram channel. Just scan it. Code scan karoge, it will land you on Telegram and you can for sure download the PDF. Thank you so much. We'll catch you soon. Bye bye.